Hey everyone, I just wanted to show off a little bit of some of the work I've been doing in Containment Chamber and how I figured out how to get AI models, specifically Claude Opus 4.1, to actually work in it. So if you're unfamiliar, Containment Chamber is basically, right now it's just a set of pre-commits that design an environment around an AI model building tools in a repository to prevent it from backsliding. So like how you ask it for a feature, it builds the feature, but then it breaks like 5 other things. This is designed to help prevent that. If we take a look at the code right now, it's super basic. So we just do python-m payment chamber init. What it basically is doing right now is just copying these 3 files and trying to paste it into whatever directory it's in. So what I tried before was I tried having tried adding large amounts of features like you normally would with AI development tools, and it just wouldn't work. None of the models could figure it out. Opus 4.1 couldn't figure it out. GPT-5 Pro, Thinking High, or whatever the strongest one you could get access to, that couldn't figure it out. So I had to find another way. And 2 of the ways that I figured out that work, if I do a git log here, there's 3 things. First, I had to kind of revert back to like pre-AI days of software development where every feature request or every feature that was added, every commit had to be very atomic, very focused, very specific. And that is small enough for the AI to understand and small enough for the AI to figure out how to fix all of the failing tests and the mutants and the code coverage and everything else that goes wrong with it. But I found that that wasn't enough. The AI, whatever one it was, didn't really understand that it had to make all of the tests pass before it could commit the code. And, this was a problem because it would try and find escape hatches. It would try to be like, oh, yeah, this line is just a pain in the butt. We're just going to comment hashtag no QA or something like that so that we don't actually check it. So obviously that was a problem. And so I did a /init on this, in Claude code I did /init, and it created this claudemd file that took a look at the repository and all the strict coding standards, and it created something that was kind of good. But then what I did was I took my most recent article on my Substack, just called Relentless Vibe Coding, and I copy-pasted that into Claude, and I said, hey, consider all of the reasoning in this article for why you're supposed to have extremely strict tests, and incorporate that into ClaudeMD. And now it has a whole bunch of reasoning for why it's supposed to be as strict as it is. And as I'm adding features, I'm finding different ways that these issues kind of, or the AI tries to find ways around the sort of strictness that I have set up in this repository. And once I kind of call it out and say, no, you're not supposed to be doing that, and it fixes it, and we go through and we commit the code eventually. At the end of it, I go back and ask, okay, what did we learn? It kind of talks about all the different things that it learned, all the different things that weren't in the Claude.md. And I say, okay, that's great. Add those examples back into the Claude.md so that future iterations can be much better. So that was number 2. The third that I found out was Anthropic just recently added this output style sort of pre-prompt. It changes how Claude communicates with you. And so what I did was I actually downloaded the Linux repository from GitHub. I did a /init on it, and it created this kind of generic thing. And then I have these, let me just show you some of the agents that I've set up. If I go down here, I actually have research agents set up. And so in the Linux kernel, I said, okay, I need you to launch like 20 research agents and take a look at how Linus Torvalds actually communicates. How does he maintain, the high standards of the Linux kernel with an iron grip? And it was looking at the Git logs. It was looking at his commits. It was doing, looking things up about him on the web. And it generated this kind of overview of, I forget exactly how I got from this to the output style, but essentially, if I go here, you can actually see what it came up with. And so how it communicates, how it thinks about how to build within a code base, it's taking inspiration directly from Linus Torvalds. So the combination of the Claude MD strictness listed in the containment chamber repository, plus the communication style and the thinking style inspired by Linus Torvalds, plus pre-AI feature requests in software, is making it so that Claude is more effective than I've ever seen him. It's more effective and more persistent at solving bugs than I've ever seen. It's incredible because before I had these sorts of steps in place, what would happen is Claude would run into a bunch of bugs, be like, oh, there's 50 mutants that survived from this, but you know what? Mutants really aren't that big of a problem, so we're just going to mark this one as solved. But now, with this output style and the strictness, it looks at that and says, okay, so these mutants are still surviving. Let's break this problem down into something more digestible. Let's kind of look into the specific mutants that are surviving. Okay, so these look like easy fixes. I know how to fix these, so I'll fix those. It goes off and fixes them, and then here's the thing. It goes back and runs the tests to see if its assumptions were correct. And if they weren't, it goes back and tries again. And it just follows that loop so much better than before I had these kinds of systems in place. So I think that's all. That's all I want to share with you. I'll probably put up a gist of these. I'm not sure if I want to commit these to the the containment chamber public repository, just because I want to make this language model and provider agnostic. But at this point, this is the only one that's actually been able to properly develop within this strict of a constraints of sort of environment.